I moved to this neighborhood because it's a good combination of family-friendly area and also full of street life. It still has the feeling of old New York because of the narrow streets, and we still have some mom and pop shops and not just chains. It's an area to live in which is on a human scale.
Geographically, the district runs from Delancey Street over the eastern part of the Lower East Side along the waterfront all the way up to 47th Street. And it kind of zigzags, but it goes east of First Avenue. So it includes really diverse communities. It includes like what's known as Lower East Side, with a lot of people who live in public housing. It includes Stuyvesant Town, which is a huge complex with thousands of rent-stabilized tenants. It also includes Peter Cooper Village, it includes Kips Bay and part of Murray Hill. So economically, it's very diverse. You have very low incomes in the projects. Probably less than $17,000 is the median income. And then you have people, households earning over 6 figures in other parts of the district. So we also have a lot of rent-stabilized tenants in the district because it's primarily renters. And they're at high risk of displacement also because there's just a lot of landlords who are trying to force rent-stabilized tenants out to deregulate their apartments. Whoever's going to represent that district really has to represent some very diverse interests.
So there are many issues facing the 74th Assembly District. There's a massive disinvestment of public housing, so that's a big one. There's also issues around the hospital systems. We have Beth Israel, which is going to be relocated soon, and so that's a major issue for all the communities, in particular folks with medical conditions, seniors, our disabled community. There's issues around transportation. The MTA is a hot mess, and so you think about the L train shutting down, you think about the buses working or not working.
There's several issues at play with respect to the East River waterfront. Certainly with respect to resiliency, the area suffered significant damage during Hurricane Sandy. Community districts 3 and 6, which overlap significantly with the waterfront areas of Assembly District 74, had more than 40,000 people facing significant flood risk over the next 40 years or so, which we define as a 1 in 2 chance of seeing an event the magnitude of Sandy or larger.
So the people who are living here, who earn $40,000, $50,000 a year, realistically, they're not looking to move elsewhere in New York City because they're just not going to find anything unless they happen to be one of the lucky ones who get an apartment through a housing lottery. So it's just critical that we preserve the housing stock that we've got.
It's segregated, just to let you know. It's only the gentrified people out here. And then after the gentrified people, it's just straight people who's poor. They're not broke, they're poor, So I would like to see that change as well.
I wish congestion pricing will be implemented so that will be less cars in our streets. I walk on the street with my 5-year-old son. He says, "Dad, I can't hear you because of the noise of the cars." We have dozens of families who ditched their cars because it's cheaper, it's cleaner, and it makes more sense.
Right now, there's a cap on the zone, how much zoning you can build, how much of a lot you can utilize, and so there's been a push in Albany to raise the cap, and if they decide to do that, I think that they should have some of the communities that will be most impacted part of that process.
If you really look at the business around here, there's a lot of stores that's closed. Why? Because these landlords want to charge astronomical prices to people like me who grew up in the neighborhood, I'm 41 years old, I've been cutting hair for 28 years, and I'm fortunate to have a store where I grew up. But the rent is crazy out here. So how do they expect the rent to be paid? The electric, the cable, the phone, anything that's overhead being paid if the rent is too high. I think there's a legislation should be more enforced on landlords that just want to hike up prices, which is not fair for owners like me.